vapfumi kutichamisa imari achatitungamira zvakanaka dare tagara vechidiki vapfumi kutichamisa imari achatitungamira zvakanaka dare tagara nemadzibaba ese apfumi kutichamisa imari achatitungamira zvakanaka dare tagara Zimbabwe yose yapfumi iye chamisa imari achatitungamira zvakanaka kupinga vapfuma kukwekwe vapfuma kukokwe vapfuma zengeza vapfuma mukomba vapfuma kutichamisa imari achatotungamira Zimbabwe kungizo vapfuma kwamutoko vapfuma kariba vapfuma kumula vapfuma kusaka vapfuma ikita vapfuma kutichamisa imari
kwamuri. All right, tinokuchingamidzai kuva pachirongwa chechange radio. Nhasi takutarisana kuenda pakati peusiku vari kuZimbabwe ikokoko makadini mativi mana mangwanani maswera sei nemanheru nevari kunzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana. Saka nhasi uno tiri kusangana muchirongwa tiri kuda kuti inonzi news review pachange radio. Muneni DJ Prof tichange tichifamba tese kwemaminutes akati kuti tiri panapa pachange radio. Nhasi uno handitika ndinokumbira ukavari kutarisa pachivhitivhiti pamaplatform akasiyana siyana, pangave paFacebook pedu, pangave paWhatsApp group pedu, pangave paradio pedu vakateerereko zvinezvi kana pamafacebook akasiyana siyana. Tinokumbirawo muti pamacomments malikes kuti mutitaura kuti muri kutinzwere zvakanaka kwese kwamuri maZimbabweni amahle aine kuti vamwe vakuda kurara, vamwe ndio vari kumuka, vamwe ndio vari pakati vari kuda kuzama kuenda kuzvidyo zvakasiyana siyana, dzingave lunch dzingava breakfast because tiri kwakasiyana siyana katakazara nyika dzese pasi rose. So nhasi uno tichange tichibata matopic akasiyana siyana, tinge tichitaura nezvawo panapa akaitika kana kuti zvakaitika mavhiki maviri kana vhiki rapfuura. Tichange tichitaura nenyaya dzemarecalls eCCC, macancelors pamwe chete nemaMPs nekuanaunzwa kwakaitwa zuva remaelection kuti zvinomboreveiko kuanaunza zuva reelections apa zvakare. Nyaya yakaendeswa kumatare edzimhosva. Tiri kunzwa kuti mukuru wenyika yeZimbabwe kana kuti anozviti mukuru wenyika yeZimbabwe Emmerson Mnangagwa akatoanaunza kuti musi wa9 December ndio kunenge kune by election yemaMPs akadzingwa muparamende. Mubvunzo woti kuvanhu vakomana kuti speaker of parliament ilawyer, president anonzi ilawyer, aizvo hatisati tazviziva zvedu because hatina umbo hwacho. Vese vari kutadza kuinterpreta mutemo weconstitution yemunyika yeZimbabwe. Munozviona sei hama vadiwa vateereri vanonzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana kuti president anozviti president wenyika ndi lawyer, speaker of parliament ndi lawyer, but vari kutadza kuinterpreta mutemo weconstitution yemunyika yeZimbabwe. Izvo zvaratidza nezvimwe zviri kuitwa navaMnangagwa. Tiri kunzwa runyere kupa makuhwa ekuti izvoni vaMnangagwa vari kuti izvoni anzi vaka appointa kana kuti vakanongedzera mukuru wemauto kuti ave zvakare mumwe wevanhu vanotaura kana kuti vanopa decision yepolitibhuro yeZANU-PF, izvo zvinorambwa nemutemo kana neconstitution yenyika yeZimbabwe iyo yavanoti vari kutevedzera. Iye inonzi zvakare mutungamiri wenyika anofanirwa kunge the first person kuprotecta that constitution. Saka zvisinei hama dzinodiwa, nhasi regai nditange nekutaura nemi panyaya yandatanga kutaura yema-recalls ema-councillors and Mnangagwa rushing to proclaim the day of elections. The by-election date has been proclaimed by Mnangagwa with the nomination court day stated for November the 7th, and and the election stated for the 9th of December 2023. And the the CCC as a party has stated previously that they are not moved by the recalls, and they've ordered their representative in council and parliament to protest or to protect against the move of recalls. Tinoziva kuti ma-recalls akaitwa hapana CCC hainambobvera yadzinga vana vayo kana kuti hainambobvera yadzinga members ayo muparamende. Zvakaitwa nemumwe wevanhu vanofungidzirwa kuti anenge akatumwa kana kuti mutumwa anonzi Songezo Shabangu, ndiye ari kuita izvozvo tisingaziveka kuti izvo zvaari kuita izvozvo akawirirana nezvipi nevepati here, kuti vakatadza here kuti vawirirane muinternally. Ndo zviri kuitika izvozvo. Zvisinei, CCC iri kublema ZANU-PF for handpick and promote this imposter Songezo Shabangu kuti aite zvaari kuita izvozvo. Mirai tinzwe kuti kuri kunzi chii pavideo inotevera iyi. Tigai tinzwe conference iyo.
Because we cannot watch when there's criminal abuse of our intellectual property, the criminal abuse of that uses that letterhead to try and abuse our party, to try and abuse our property. That's why we've engaged the state, particularly the police, and we continue to urge the Zimbabwe Republic Police to take the necessary measures to make sure that such criminals, such criminal conduct is brought to book. You know, fellow Zimbabweans, that if it was the case of the opposite side, if any case had been opened against our member, you would see the energy, the extent, the harassment, the surveillance that would have happened if it was a member of the authentic alternative in this country, the CCC. What does that indicate? It shows beyond doubt to all who care to listen that in this country we have a law for ZANU-PF and the law for the rest of us. That's why we've made sure that we engage the police for this act to be resolved.
Right. Masvinzura mega zvataurwa. The one who was speaking under the voice, under the sound of my voice was Ostalos Gift Siziva, the deputy spokesperson of the CCC party. Vari kutaura kuti they're going to court and they are going to make sure kuti this Songezo Shabangu achasungwa because ari kushandisa zvinhu zvinosanganisira face ya president we-CCC kuita kunge vakawirirana saizvozvo. So he's using someone's face kuti ashandise face iyoyo kuita aite zvaari kuita izvozvo. Zvakare vari kutaura kuti this guy ZANU-PF is using the laws zvichienderana nekuti wabuda mumba mani, kuti pane mitemo ZANU-PF and there are also the laws for CCC. We do not know what is happening. So after this process of the conference Ostalos just finished addressing our weekly press, and he spoke about the constitutional crisis in Zimbabwe and articulated the position of the CCC and the crisis that is in the country. And he stated that they continue as a CCC to demand the release of political prisoner Job Sikhala. Namutaura tichataura nezvenyaya yaJob Sikhala. Job Sikhala nyaya yake yatsviriridza and haisina kutsviridza muZimbabwe chete. So now Job Sikhala has spent 491 days in prison. Actually in prison, we can't say in detention because he's at Chikurubi maximum prison in Zimbabwe. So it's no longer a detention, but they spend almost, it's like he's saving the jail term because he's at maximum prison. We also need to update the nation on the movement or intervention to deal with the illegal recalls of our MP, like I said, and this was said clearly by Ostalos Siziwa in this conference where they did it during this and previous week, and they were really stating all the things that they need to do. CCC remain the only credible vehicle to bring change for the benefit of all Zimbabweans. And you know, Zimbabwean people have trusted the CCC to lead the country, but unfortunately, ZANU-PF through the army and the police intimidate people and also make sure that they rigged the election. We know what happens in major cities and towns in Zimbabwe where elections or voter ballot papers were delayed to arrive in places where they were supposed to be. And one thing that will shock and people have a lot of questions around is that you find out that Uzumba, Maramba, Pfungwe, Mutoko, Chiredzi, Muzarabani, pasi kwenyika uko kwakasvika mapepa asi muHarare 500 meters away from where the ballots were printed. Zvakanzi izvoni anonoka kusvika to the extent kuti vakatozoita zuva rese kusvika mangwana vanhu vakazotadza kuvhota. So now let's see what if the IT department can flight something for us with regards to this conference, please. All right, so icho chandatutumira chandatarisa mukatarisa pa picture pedu apo kana pa video pedu tiri kutaura zveproclamation yaMnangagwa ari kunzi akaproclama kuti ma-elections ndozvanaita mbotaura paipa akaproclama kuti ma-elections anenge achiitwa rini kuma-constituents api. So you can read it through kuti ma-constituents ari kunzi ari kuitwa uko kwakabviswa ma-MPs kunosanganisira Beitbridge West, Binga North. We know Binga North iri very popular. Why? Because mukuru weFAS, the president for FAS, akarohwa ikokoko zvakasimba, saka vari kuda kuti adzoke muparliament newindo rekuseri kana kuti nodhoo rekuseri. Tosanganisira kuti Bulawayo South neCountry Park zvakare ine mutsindo. Country Park ndokwakarohwa the current minister akadzoserwa, ainzi minister anonzi Minister of Finance Mutuli Ncube akadzoserwa naMnangagwa pasina hake zvaakaita zvatinoziva. And we know that there's Lobengula Magwegwe, there's young energetic men there from that constituency by the name Gono. We know Lupani East, Mavukutavara, again the bone of contention. Tinoziva kuti gold mafia yakarakashwa ikokoko zvakare nemukomana weCCC asi yakuda kudzoswa zvakare muparliament nebackdoor. Totaura Mupopoma, Muzilikazi and Nenketa. Uku ndo ma-constituents akaproclama kuti akanga ava vacant kubudikidza nekudzingwa kwakaitwa ma-parliamentarians nemunhu asingazikamwi kuti ndiani ende uye anoita nezvei. So date sezvanambotaura paya kuti date rakafixwa kuti unge uri musi wa9 December 2023 ndo panenge pane ma-elections. Mubvunzo woti Zimbabwe itself, is it able to sustain these elections coming up? Because we do not have that foreign currency, we do not have money in Zimbabwe, but because ZANU-PF, they want to maintain this third majority in parliament, that's why they are making sure that they find any loophole or the way that they can do to make sure that they have more parliamentarians in parliament. Right, so ndo video rananga ndichikupai iro toenderera mberi nenyaya dzedu nhasi dzakutaura video tichani. Right, as you can see, those were the members of parliament in support or in solidarity with the statement that President Nelson Chamisa has just said, that they are disengaging from parliament, and the parliamentarians were behind their leader, knowing that, and he reiterated that people knows their president and people knows their leadership. No one is confused about who is leading CCC than what Shabangu is saying, that he is the one that is leading CCC and has got the powers to recall or withdraw members of parliament from parliament. Right, let's go to the story of Job Sikhala. We know everyone, and I've said it earlier on again, Job spent almost 491 days, almost 500 days now in parliament, rather in prison, and actually this is not really going well. I say it is not going well not only in Zimbabwe but internationally. The international, the Inter-Parliament Union set in Luanda, Angola this week, and they deliberated on this issue. Issue of Job Sikhala was on the agenda, and it was deliberated with all international member of parliaments across the world. So this is what they have to say. They had to say, in light of the Citizen Coalition for Change's decision to intensify the unlawful recall of its 23 members, the Senate and senators, as well as the unjust and prolonged pre-trial detention of Job Sikhala. These two cases took prominence on the agenda during the latest session of the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Luanda, Angola. The IPU, being the highest parliamentary body globally, addressed these pressing issues as their focal point. The IPU expressed deep concern regarding the ongoing incarceration of Job Sikhala and the illegitimate recall of MPs and senators of the CCC in parliament in Zimbabwe. To address these issues, a team from the organization has been assigned to visit Zimbabwe and conducted a thorough investigation into the persistent persecution of the opposition MPs and the flagrant disregard of the constitution in Zimbabwe. Like I've mentioned earlier on, that the Speaker of Parliament as well as the President of the country, they are claimed to be lawyers. Hence, I also reiterated that we might know the law degree for the Speaker of Parliament, but we are not sure about the law degree for the President, because one of the incidents that I've mentioned just now is that even Mugabe could not, he was not even a lawyer, but could not do what Mnangagwa has done in just less than 6 years. He just, violated the constitution willy-nilly. He has appointed Valerio Sivanda, the army general, to be ex-official member. Yes, ZANU-PF, Politburo member, yes, ZANU-PF, which is against the constitution. And now let's go to the decision. What the IPU had said is that the committee decided to recommend to the government and council of inter-party union and adopt the following decision. The government, the governing council of the Inter-Parliamentary Union has thanked the Speaker of the National Assembly of Zimbabwe. He was part and parcel of that meeting, so they've thanked him for the information, including legal document that they provided, that he provided to the IPU committee on human rights and during this session in Angola. Also, that they also welcomed the visit. The Speaker of Parliament has welcomed the visit of these delegates that I've said earlier on that they need to visit Zimbabwe. So he has said they can come. They have nothing to hide, but we know that they've got everything to hide. So the delegate is going to come to Zimbabwe. Let me just show you quickly some of the resolutions that were made to that effect. Let me just show you some of the decision. So those are some of the decision. You can see the meeting was there on the 27th of October. Let me reiterate this. People are confusing this meeting and the SADC Troika meeting. And a lot of people are saying SADC we already set on the 27th of October and nothing came out from there. No, that was not a SADC Troika meeting. This was what Inter-Parliamentary Union meeting. This was the meeting for the all international parliamentarians meeting in Angola. I know for sure that people are also making it why people are confused, because it was the meeting was held in Africa, and not only in Africa but in one of the SADC countries, which is Angola. So we know that people were confused with that. Let me just play this for you, then I'll come back to tell you.
Do they send the employment returns to NASA? No. Evidence is there, no scarcity by the country for 8 years. But they don't work with the sanctions. Well, can I ask about you are imposing sanctions and you don't know how to overcome them? Then surrender leadership. If I were to not only get sanctions, you can't have the commander who at the front always brings his guns.
Sanctions have been imposed on us. Initially, we were worried about sanctions. Now we realize they are a blessing, because we can now think outside the box. And in all our planning, there is no, if you talk about sanctions, when we are planning, we send you out of the room. We have to use our domestic resources to develop our country, brick by brick, stone upon stone. Yes, we don't have.
Do they send the employment returns to NASA? No. vamapedza vachingomora evidences there, no skyscraper in the country for 30 years. Basa nderongogwema kuti masanctions. Well, kana wasvika pakuti you are involved with sanctions and you don't know how to overcome them, then surrender leadership. Ipai vari muno ava vanhu vanoda kuti unotoona nyika yakabva masanctions ikaenda pamberi. You can't have the commander who at the front always blames his guns. The
Sanctions have been imposed on us. Initially, we were worried about sanctions. Now we realize they are a blessing because we can now think outside the box. And in all our planning, there is no, if you talk about sanctions, when we are planning, we send you out of the room. We have to use our domestic resources to develop our country, brick by brick, stone upon stone. Yes, we don't
Right, as brick by brick, stone upon stone. Nyika ichidzoserwa ku stone age nevakomana. So I like the fact that they understand, and the first person who was speaking, that's Christopher Mtangwa. He is the current ZANU-PF spokesperson, the spokesperson of the whole party, and he reiterated and he said it clearly. That time he was referring to Mugabe, and he said, you cannot continue blaming sanction every time. Ipai vakomana varoi basa mune masanction achibviswa manje. He knew that. And the next video you heard is president of the party talking about sanctions. What I can tell you now is that even ZANU-PF itself believe that sanctions does not, and sanction is not the ones that is making Zimbabwe not to progress there. Is the corruption that is engulfed the country, and that corruption is done by the ruling party, using the stooges like Kudata Gure and the other people the gold mafia. So this is exactly what is happening in Zimbabwe. We were sold a dummy. Tichinyepero kuti muno masanction akadai zvinokonza kuti zvakadai but izvozvo zvikanzibvisai Mugabe tikuda kuita kuti masanction tikuda kubvisa Mugabe ndiye akakonzesa masanction 1 vakamboti abvisai Mugabe ndiye akakonzesa kuti tipiwe masanction iko zvino vachinja futi vakuti triple ndiye akonzesa kuti tipiwe masanction musi unoyu vakanga vane demo re anti sanction day demo saka Dambo flight a bit. I think IT department, can you just flight a day? Rema, can you just flight the day Rema anti sanction day? Raka itwa musuno wawaka macha vanhu vachitaridzira nenyaya yema sanction. And you know what? In as much as people can want to play around with that issue yema sanction. And the sanction paka isko, everyone in Zimbabwe, we know they are affecting us. But it's our baby to nest as a nation. It's ZANU-PF baby to nest as a party. It's individuals baby to nest as those individuals who were put on a sanction, targeted sanctions by the European Union and America, because those targeted sanctions are put out animal terms and conditions. One of the conditions they could do stop human rights violation. What are human rights violations? Job Sikhala, 500 days in detention, pasina kutongwa, pasina kupiwa a bail. That's human rights violation because it's going against the dictates of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, not of the Republic of the European countries. The Republic of Zimbabwe. How can someone save a jail term? Because we know some people are even given a 6 months jail term. Job Sikhala has spent 500, close to 2 years in detention, but personal requited. So that's exactly what we are saying. Corruption in Zimbabwe has killed the country, and also human rights violation has killed the country, and also some of the things that ZANU-PF is doing, they are not respecting the rule of law. Kuti mutemo unobuda kana kuti unoshandiswa zvichienderana nekuti wabuda mumbamani, ndo zviri kunzi nevakaisa masanctions. Can you stop that? Then the sanctions are removed. And Christopher Mchangwa knows that, because from the first video we have heard that. Right now, the another story that is really a sad story is the abduction of the former member of parliament for Mavukutafara, Jimmy Chidakwa. It was a sad story because this was done daylight, in front of people looking at what is happening, and no one intervened. The people did not intervene, not because they did not want to, but ZANU-PF has used the military and the police to intimidate people. Vakasiya Chidakwa achiitwa zvaakaitwa, and akarohwa, vakanomsiya vamudhamba kuActurus, vakasiya vamudhamba musango. And let me show you what he said and what they did to him.
I left home around 6 to pick my wife, and pick bus at 7 in town. So ndashika pabasa pa madam wangu, ndakatopaka ipapo nchimiro tapedza basa. Then a metallic blue called Fortuna yakapaka pasati pangu around to 7 in the evening. So I need now well, and that's about boss parking. Then all of a sudden I saw people coming out from the car with force. But you know, papa motor. That one I shouldn't kuna door. I try for a door, but my doors were locked. But and my window one got sick also. But that is my doors. So they struggled to pull me out of the car. Then from there, when they motor, they also struggled to bundle me in their car. But no one came to rescue me. One must not pay the so that's why unfortunate. There were about 7 guys. What and another one, and another one, madam, so that one I got to pick, and then I was in the middle for fortune. Much I got 3 then of that one I got to pick. The Nangos Pasada Musor, that all our face. I was a motor until the task happens to be within the kutaka banga cheka embe cheka chekwa putsi wakapisa wakakanda musango and papira daro mpaka mpesa ngani injection thereanibaya mashikana the rest yango beating tire beating serious ngoroba random so vangota ndima champion ishawe bini when I was in the car vangota ndima champion and there were no stories vanyanya tsaita zibozokuti now and the other question yakabvunza ndekuti iwe uri side wachabangwa uri wachamisa wachabangwa chabangwa nepati so wakatoti then they were quiet wasina nyaya yokudzaitawo
sayangokupa chete vakanyarara
kushambura chakuti mchana and vapedza kundirova vakazoti ripesa mota varotudza gumbo rangu kutaurisa pasi pefia mota ikanditsika pamusoro pegumba ikaenda kumberi ikadzoka yamira padenga ikadzokera futi kumberi then after that ndipo vakapa vatongoti unopinda mota dzavo vakaenda ini kuti kana sara kana kutaura well ndakatyoka gumbo ndakatyoka ruoko matishu epagumbo rakatsikwa akapatwa black akafa ose ndakasana kwese kune nzvimbo dzekurohwa dzakawanda makumbo akabayiwa ane maburi then papelvis pane fracture I also have a fractured pelvis yeah nemusoro wakachekwa wakachekwa
maichekwa nechii musoro
I think a machete or something. Because I'm going to run a machete about the mouth. because I was blindfolded. Pandakato tango chaka assistance and one wakanda assistant wakanda police then had to call a family nekutondipa tsamba yekuti unorapwa kupavenyato. So first port of call kupavenyato ndatina netsamba yepolice. So police are aware of what happened. From Acturas police base somewhere in the jungle from Acturas. But the area in Makurukosa around, so they want such Kuruza. So in the end, one rescue the Makurukosa as well. No, I still say to Ganana Pade also regime in a panic. If the regime can panic, I know to it as Wakana Buti Nika election, never should die. Regime panics. That was a design panica, Nangawaru panica, and the Sajiki was up to Anna, the Sajiki doctor and Zimbabwe. And Chamisa watendeza msoro awazipe kubatala pakuchangira. So but to me it was the struggle. I'm not even worried, I'm not even angry, because I know what in the struggle tulosanganisha kadai is part of the struggle. Nditonesa nishikuda kupiza.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a very sad story what happened, and that's what regime does when it actually defeated in the battle of ideas, they resort to violence. Maona kuti mukomana, to tell you the thing that you, for those who did not know, James Chidakwa akanga achitori rasta man. So mukona musoro mese makachekwa aitaura kuti aitochekwa rasta rake nezvimasharp object kuti vaingocheka vasingatombo vamwe vachiita zvekudzura musoro. So you know those things tell me that if the international community sees those things and see what is happening in Zimbabwe in violating human rights like that, abducting people, you know, torturing people like that, how will you be demanding for sanctions to go kutoenda murodhi kunomacha kuta zvemasanction? Ndakati ndikaona mukoma wangu, munin'ina wangu, sisi wangu, mai vangu kana sekuru vangu vachimachira zvemasanction izvozvo nemusi uyo ndobva ndatovadeclare kuenda kuzimuke kuti vanopenga, ndinobva ndatovanyoresa kuti mumwe wevanhu vasina pfungwa vanorwara nepfungwa, because up until ZANU-PF stopped doing what they are doing, that's the only way that the sanction can be moved. There's no one to blame. We are ourselves to blame, and there's no sanction from anywhere. Sanctions, it's us as a country, because we are failing to respect the human rights. Isusu amadzinodiwaka ndangoti nditi turu 30 minutes usiku unoyuka kuti tibatane tobatana zvakare mune dzimwe nguva dzinotevera. Ndinokukumbirai vose kuti endai paChange Radio Facebook Change Radio channel yedu, musubscribe ipapo kuti muzive zvakawanda zvatinenge chita paChange Radio. Tine Facebook channel, tine YouTube channel, munosubscribe kwakasiyana-siyana. Tine Twitter, follow us on Twitter as well, tinenge tiripo. Ini ndinonzi DJ Prof, but musaenda, ndoda kupa video rapresident vachitaura nenyaya yemarecalls. Tosangana mune zvirongwa zvinotevera. It's bye bye for now.
Last year in February, you launched the CCC after the fall of the MDC Alliance, or after the abandonment of MDC Alliance. Take us through how it's been like.
Well, thank you very much. Just to indicate to you that it has been a fantastic show. It has been a wonderful and a fabulous journey. We've done very well. We've scored big. At the inception on the 24th of January, we indicated to the people of Zimbabwe that we are forming a formidable citizen movement, a new kid on the block, the yellow juggernaut, and that juggernaut has done wonders. We, at the instance of this hastily called for by-elections, we went into a by-election. Out of the 28 seats, we won 19. Out of the 129 or so ward council elections, we won about 89. That was no mean feat for 2022, but we've not stopped there. We have built a giant movement across the country. When we say strategic ambiguity and a structure, It's just to confuse our opponent, and doesn't mean that we're not structured. We are thoroughly structured. We have a footprint far and wide across the whole country. You go to rural areas, we are everywhere, in every village, every hamlet, every farm, and of course across in the urban areas, we've dominated. And this is what explains, even in a flawed and bogus election like the one we had, we won emphatically the president. And some would say, but why are you saying you won the president? We won, but we're not declared. Mr. Mnangagwa is the one who was declared, but he did not win. And there's no better evidence to that than what he has shown. There has not been ability and capacity within their rank and file to even celebrate, because they know that they did not win. Even amongst themselves, they know that they did not win this election. So we did win because of a structured approach, a formidable approach. We won the majority in parliament, apart from the 104 MPs that they've allocated to us. We won much more. In fact, we're the majority in parliament. Even local authorities, you look at our show, in a suppressed and flawed election, we managed to win almost 33 out of 34, urban councils, and we swept in the rural district councils. That kind of significant show is not by accident, it's not by mistake, it's not by error, it's by design. It's by making sure that we are structured, we are organized, and we are empathic. And this is why Mr. Mnangagwa is terrified at us. They are so scared of us, and they are so bitter with us. That's why they are vindictive. They know that we defeated them in the election. In 2018, we beat them. But in 2023, we drubbed them. It was even thorough. And that's why you can see the vitriol and the anger and all these antics and tactics that they are playing to try and destroy the citizens' movement.
In your structures, does the one person called Sengezo Shawangu appear in it?
Well, I must say that we are not structured in a way. We have always been structured in the traditional sense of political parties. We don't have the post of Secretary General in our party, in our movement. We have changed champions. We are structured as such. And it's our voluntary approach, because any organization does voluntarily decide and dictate who they want to be called and how they want to be structured. There are many members who are members of the Catholic Church, the Apostolic Church. They don't need political, tags or labels, or to say you have a card. There are ways of, identifying one as a member, and they know how they designate themselves. But I can tell you that CCC is not fast, so there should be no confusion about who is who in the CCC. I understand the man you're talking about, Twabangu, is a member of some other board, but not CCC. He is not a member, he is not a leader. And that is known by ZANU-PF. That is known by the person who is claiming who is an impositor. He knows that he's bogus. He knows that he doesn't have title. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. He doesn't have what we call the locus standi, or legal stand, or legal standing, to say that he doesn't even know the meaning of CCC. I'm sure if you ask him, you may not even know the doctrinal, foundational basis of the CCC as a citizens movement. As you know, the CCC was not just a political party. It's a movement born out of consultations with the citizens themselves. And they said, please draw a line in the sand. Enough is enough. We don't want a replica of MDC toxic politics of the past. In any event, the CCC was a product of us having been banned from using the name MDC Alliance or anything that is an offshoot of MDC politics on account of a Supreme Court order. So it was a court order that banned the MDC Alliance being used by ourselves. It was given to Monzora and his team. So was MDC. So we formed a completely new political party to try and insinuate that there's a confusion, there has to be continuation from the past to the future is disingenuous and dishonest by anybody.
But the same script is playing out. 2018, 2023 script is almost playing out now. Why?
Well, it is playing out because the script is the same. And the player here, the engineer of everything, is ZANU-PF. Mr. Mnangagwa is the one who is sending all these ghosts. You know that he created ghosts in 2018. He has created another ghosts and other ghosts who are fraudsters in the truest sense of the word. And we've said to the police, please arrest these people because they are committing, a crime. At law, it's fraud, it's impersonation. They're fraudsters. Go and deal with these people. They're impositors. You can't allow somebody to pretend to be who they are not and lying even before oath what they are not. But you know what? The impunity and immunity betrays the author and the host of this ghost.
He seems to be winning now because, by and large, recalls might be happening. There'll be by-elections. Where will you stand?
It doesn't matter. They can recall MPs a million times. You can't stop an idea whose time has come. If anything, they are losing. Because you don't have that kind of behavior from people who are winning. It shows how desperate they are. In fact, the problem is not on our side. The problem is on the perpetrator, the rocket launcher. We don't engage the rockets or the missiles. We go to the missiles launcher. We go to the rocket launcher. Mr. Mnangagwa is the one who is launching all these rockets. So our busy schedule cannot be wasted, by engaging missiles that are being thrown at us. I can tell you that they will lose and they will fail. They will not win against the people of Zimbabwe. And I always say God is in it. It's not a claim, it's not a slogan, but it's a statement of the faith and conviction we have that you can't stop an idea whose time has come. So yes, they may try to clutch on straws, but they are sinking.
You've said God is in it. Some have said that is your weakness. Why have you so much
Because
held on?
they don't know the God I serve. If they knew the God I serve, it can never be a weakness to be associated with God and to be behind God's agenda.
Some have gone to say that you can't bring in God in politics because ethnic politics, by and large, has been polluted.
They are ignorant. And let me teach them. God is in everything. We are all creatures of God. We are created by the universal author. We are not just objects. We are products of what God has created us to be. So you can't take politics outside the realm of the author and the creator. They need lessons. They need to learn that this universe has a presiding authority and God is at the center of everything. He is in everything, including politics. Yes, they are dirty politicians, but doesn't take away the fact that God is ultimately over all human beings. That's the point.
I agree with you, but one would say your approach or your uplifting of God has been also, on the other hand, deprive those who don't believe in God within the society of Zimbabwe.
It's not depriving. Mr. Mnangagwa believes in other things. He must be allowed to believe in those things. That's what democracy and diversity is all about. I've not imposed God on the people. I've said that is my source of anchor. That is my faith. That is what drives me as a leader. That is my source of strength. If you would say that that's a weakness, why would they deploy resources to fight a weak man? Weak men are not fought by the kind of resources you have seen being deployed against us.
Do you feel God has let you down twice, 2018, 2023?
Not at all. I'm so proud of my God. He has elevated me twice.
The results are not coming in terms of what did you want?
We have results to be able to stand in this environment and to be able to defeat a mammoth institution like ZANU-PF. It's not a joke. We are so proud of the God who has served us. You have seen the results. That's why they are panicking. We are so proud of our results.
This same God will watch CCC being frog marched into by-election.
But this is not a God of parties. It's a God of destiny. It's a God of generations. So a party is just a minuscule thing. It's a vehicle. If you're involved in an accident on your journey to Masvingo, it doesn't stop the journey. You can be given another vehicle. Perhaps there's going to be a jet that must take you quicker and faster. So don't be fixated on this, we formed the CCC. Some of us are privileged. I've never rebelled. I've never split anything. I've never destroyed. I've never divided. My God-given task and assignment is to build, In my whole life, I've never shed blood for politics. I've never killed for politics. And I'm proud of that record. And what we want is to build. We've built this country. From my days as member of parliament, as minister, all my responsibilities as an advocate in the courts of Zimbabwe Superior Court is to build. And I will not be distracted by agents and merchants of division to move from that God-given responsibility, building Zimbabwe and building Zimbabwe for everyone.
This party built with masses of people, which you say you've got 10 champions across the country. Some of them, or within the party, some are saying there are those who are not happy with the manner in which you're running the party.
A party is not run by an individual. A party is run by its members, and they are everywhere. There is a rural district council in Binga. I don't even know who is who there. There are people who run it. That's not Nelson Chamisa. You talk about Bulawayo. We want everything in Bulawayo. I'm not even there. All I'm there is as a presiding officer, as the founder member of the CCC. And we are proud of our record. So yes, disgruntlements, complaints, the more the merrier. But also the more you are, size becomes also an issue. As you grow big, your problems and your challenges grow big. But doesn't mean that it's a weakness. It's actually diversity and variety, which is good. That's what shows that this is a giant organization.
And leadership is seen on how you handle disgruntlements. And some are saying the Chabang case is such kind of an example.
But Chabang is not a member. I told you that I'm sick and tired of commenting about ZANU or FAS. I'm not a member of ZANU. I'm not a member of FAS. I'm sure if you want a proper comment about those people, that name, the moment you mention it, you remind me that I'm talking to the wrong person. Because you see, Chabang guy or Twabang guy is not a CCC member. He belongs elsewhere. He's being imposed on the CCC to particularly achieve certain ends. And why is ZANU-PF doing this? They know that we defeated them in the election. They want us to focus internally and not focus on the issue. They want us to take our eyes off the need for a proper election and focus on these stupid and useless by-elections that are created and contrived unlawfully, criminally, and unconstitutionally. And we will not waste our time on unconstitutional things. The fact that you have a speaker who chooses to act not just in error or on the basis of a mistake, but on the basis of a crime. A ZEC that chooses to act on the basis of a crime. And a president in courts of a country who chooses to act on the basis of a crime, that makes it a criminal syndicate. Zimbabwe has become a big crime scene when it comes to tearing apart the constitution of the land.
In an event that the court at the end of the day decides you to go to a by-election, will you participate as a party?
Well, we should not waste time on unconstitutional acts, on criminal acts. We don't participate in crime. You know, it would be a different ballgame. Yet this position or this vacancy has been created by a proper case of law and the course of law. But you can't say you choose to criminally produce an impositor, a fraudster, a bogus RICO, which is not from CCC. Everyone knows who CCC is. They know it. ZEC, the parliament, Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Mnangagwa, they all know who CCC is. They all know who is who in the CCC. But they choose to be dishonest, mendacious, and malicious. What do? They create a tortoise on a lamppost. For what reason? Because they want to deflect. What they know is the legitimate cry by Zimbabweans that they need the result of the election to be respected. We won the elections on the 23rd of August. They know it. We know it. Everyone knows it. SADC, AU, the whole world is aware that Mr. Mnangagwa did not win the elections in Zimbabwe. And the elections were flawed, but flawed as they were, we won them. That is known. That is common cause. So they want to try and shift that focus, create a new set of facts, hoping that that will deflect the attention and the focus of the people of Zimbabwe. We are not interested in side shows. The main show, the grand show, is the issue of having a proper government, a proper election, a legitimate government in Zimbabwe. That is the issue. All these other things are side shows. And you know, as you look at us. Do we look like characters that would participate in a Muppet show?
You're very clear when it comes to your focus.
Sure.
You had an opportunity when SADC came up. It came out very clear
Indeed.
to support how shambolic the polls were. And one would say that you want to outsource SADC in the region to complete the struggle.
Well, you see, I like the term you're using, to complete the struggle, meaning to say that there's a struggle that is going on. You know, you don't give us credit for sustaining this struggle, for commencing this struggle, for standing up to dictatorship under difficult circumstances, against all odds. We have scars physically. You can see the scars we have across the whole body. I was nearly killed, you know, several times, you know, our cars, convoys being shot at, you know, gunshots, accidents, poisoning, and not just myself, abductions for all our members, those who dare to stand. Some are even in jail on account of that commitment. So don't look at the negatives, look also at the positives. It's a struggle, and it's a tough struggle against a very entrenched dictatorship. But we've done very well. We've managed to make significant gains, and we are happy with where we are. Yes, we would want it to be quicker, we would want it to be faster, but look, it's not a walk in the park. Fighting a dictatorship is never instant coffee or some kind of a bed of roses. It's a bed of thorns. So yes, SADC can only but augment a struggle that is already underway, and we've done everything within our power. Mind you, we are using different instruments dealing with a dictatorship, and we invest in peace. We've chosen peace under difficult circumstances.
One would say power has never come with peace. Even in the Bible that you saw so much trust, David had to kill Goliath.
You must know that power came through peace. In fact, the Lord Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace. So you must understand that violence is actually of the devil.
It came at the price of the cross.
Of course, there is a price. That's why we are paying that price. Our sacrifice, that peace sacrifice, that innocent sacrifice, and that commitment we are putting on this high road to justice and democracy and freedom in Zimbabwe does not come easy. We've paid the price.
But the road seems so
We have ailments that we've sustained because of this struggle. You know, perennial headaches because of the attacks, you know, the airport attack, and just for myself. But there are many others. Some have even died. So it's coming at a cost. But what we are not going to do is to cost a life because of politics. For us, we don't believe that we must walk on dead bodies on our way to State House. I don't believe that. Yes, it's going to cost more on our time, more on our effort, more even on our integrity and credentials. But peace is the high road. We must smoke a peace pipe for Zimbabwe so that we have a free country for everyone.
Looking at your supporters, they seem to be growing in patience. Talk to some, they believe, well, people in Malawi, for instance, some are saying this nonsense, your allege of Shabang and everything going to happen, shenanigans. Because of your patience, your lenience.
Well, I mean, I suppose I'm the alternative to Mr. Mnangagwa. Mr. Mnangagwa has no patience, is very violent, is very cruel, and I suppose that's why I'm standing as an alternative to say that is what we believe in. You know, I know that there's a growing impatience at the base, the support base, but we have said to them, trust the process. It is important. This is not a Chamisa struggle. It's not a leader struggle. It's a people struggle. Every citizen has a role to play. And I can say, get ready, mobilize, organize. Let's talk to each other and do everything we have to do peacefully, praying peacefully, acting peacefully, and making sure that we are able to democratically and politically engage peacefully.
Thank you very much for your time.
God bless you. God is in it. Thank you.